Tennessee school systems are dealing with unintended consequences related to a crackdown on school threats. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to News 2 at 5. I'm Bob Mueller.
And I'm Haley Wilgus. Hundreds of kids have been arrested under a relatively new state law that makes school threats a felony. In one case, a 7-year-old was arrested. News 2's Corey Johnson reports on the bill to raise the threshold for a child to get in trouble.
Caught up in the Tennessee legislature's attempt to deter kids from threatening mass violence is an 11-year-old boy who receives special education.
And he's been charged with a felony. He said something that he didn't understand.
A disability advocate shared a message from his family.
And now he has to be evaluated by the state to see if he's not competent or competent to stand trial. We hired a lawyer. It's just been a lot emotionally and financially on my family. He thinks he's going to prison.
A relatively new state law makes mass violence threats against schools a felony, regardless of intent or inability to carry them out.
In fiscal year 2024, 518 children were arrested under our current threats of mass violence law. The youngest was 7 years old. 71 children under the age 11 and under were arrested under this statute. To be clear, those children will never appear in front of a judge because they are not competent to stand trial.
But they're still being arrested even when a school finds that a threat is not valid.
Lawmakers suggested part of the problem is people reporting threats that are clearly not serious.
At what point does common sense come into this with a teacher or a school administrator deciding this is just a kid being a kid?
That's where the general logic comes in, and that takes place every day in every school.
But a bill moving through the legislature would increase the threshold to get arrested for threatening mass violence.
The amendment makes it to where the individual has to knowingly, intentionally, and be able to carry out that threat. And so if it was someone who was suffering from some type of developmental disability, or they had no intent of meaning that or no intent of actually doing it, they would not be charged, nor could they have been convicted.
Despite the proposed change, advocates say there's still work to do.
And to find a way to exclude the youngest children, those 71 elementary youth who were subjected to harmful arrest. And we don't want to minimize cases where there may be a valid threat, right? That is not what we're saying.
Corey Johnson, News 2.
The bill would also expand the threat law to cover churches, government buildings, and events. It already passed in several House and Senate committees, with another vote set for next week.